Hi there, folks. Well, as you can see, it's beginning to be winter in my part of the country, so there won't be any more flush test of my toilets outside until next spring. It's just above freezing today, which is a warm day, so no more flush tests for a while. But as I feel like it, I might take the opportunity to film some individual plumbing artifacts that I've collected over the years. And this is a special one, pretty unusual. You can see it's in a Kohler box, which is probably from the 70s or 80s. Let's see what's in here. So what are these? I'll get a shot of this tag. So what this is a fill valve and flush valve for an automatic urinal tank. They're pretty uncommon on YouTube. I'll try and find a picture of one and put it in the link below, but they used to have, in fact, hold on a sec. Okay, here's a 1948 Kohler Catalog. And you can see that most of the washout and siphon jet urinals of the time were available with a flush valve or a tank. And you might notice that this tank has no flush handle of any kind. You can see more. The Bardon could flush from a tank. The Brantford. The Dexter. So this is what you would find in that kind of tank. And so the way these worked is, this is the fill valve. The water supply came in down through this fill tube, and this screwdriver fitting here is actually a valve. And this fill valve would run all the time, and you would adjust this so that the tank would fill slowly, and you could adjust it. You'd adjust it so that you would have minutes in between tank fillings. The tank could refill itself maybe every minute if you wanted to. You could adjust it down to just a trickle and maybe go every 10 minutes or something. But the idea is that this valve would be adjusted so that the tank would fill somewhat at a trickle rate. So picture a tank, and this flush valve is installed in the tank, and this fill valve would be installed about like that. Water's coming through, and the water level in the tank is rising. The water level rises inside this valve. This valve is basically a self-starting siphon. What that means is, as the water level climbs inside this tube, and also inside this copper tube, when it gets up near the top, this whole valve will it'll start siphoning automatically when the water gets high enough. When that happens, this valve will siphon the tank empty. It'll flush itself until the water level gets down to the bottom, and it'll break the siphon. And That way, when it does that, you have an automatic flush cycle of the urinal tank. And then this thing is running all the time, so the water level will begin to slowly rise again until it starts this siphon valve and it'll flush again. So that's why you can adjust this valve to adjust how frequently the tank flushes. And you're talking in terms of minutes. If you opened it up a lot, you could have it flush maybe every minute or something. The tank would automatically flush the urinals every minute. Or if you closed it way down, maybe you could get 10 or 15 minutes. So that was kind of a personal preference thing. So these fittings are pretty unusual. They're pretty rare because they don't really make automatic flush tanks in the US anymore. And they're new old stock, so they've never been used. So those are pretty cool. Pretty hard to come by. This is a 3/4 inch version, so this would be used on a washout urinal of some kind, either a Bardon or a Branham. They had larger ones. If you had a Dexter or a Bramford, you'd need a larger flush valve than this. But that's how those worked.